in the map, and he is going to see the expansion from DCRodrigo. I believe this is the first he is scouting of it, so just now aware that his opponent has expanded. Both players pretty even as far as bases go economically. If we look at the units tab here, we can see, oh, hold that thought, there is a large amount of Protoss units trying to move around to defend against this, and I don't think that he is going to try to drop those tanks. Yeah, he is not in a good position to drop that, so going to just force DCRodrigo to pay attention to his army, move some units around, and actually is going to siege up the tanks on this small cliff here, although these are going to die very quickly. I'm not sure exactly what that was, and Elisa says so bad, and I have to agree with him on that one. That was definitely not one of BrokenRythm's finer moments because I know he is a much better player than that. But anyways, looking at BrokenRythm's base, his expansion is fully saturated here, it looks like, so he is going to be getting a very strong economy. And as we can see, there is full mineral saturation almost at the natural for DCRodrigo, but he does not yet have his gas up and running at his expansion, so he is going to be behind in the gas production, which will, of course, add up in those high-tier units in the long run. And as we can see, he does have his Templar tech up and running right now, and he is going to be researching Psystorm. There is a significant advantage in the income here right now. We can see Broken is about 400 ahead, and sorry about the lag there. We're actually live casting this game right now, and there is like 7 or 8 people spectating this game, so a bunch of people in here, so of course lag a little bit more likely with all these people. But looking at the units tab here, we can see that there is a pretty good mixture from both players. 1 High Templar, 2 Sentries, 8 Stalkers, 2 Colossi, and 12 Zealots for the Protoss player. Meanwhile, the Terran player has 10 Marines, 4 tanks, 3 Medevacs, and 8 Marauders. So a pretty good mix from both players. As I mentioned earlier, I would definitely like to see some Ravens from BrokenRythm, but he does not have the Tech Lab add-on, so apparently he's just going to be getting some Vikings out, which Vikings are very, very good at dealing with the Colossus because they have such good range, and they are very, very powerful against those units, because the Colossus, although they deal a lot of damage, they do not take a lot of damage. So that is definitely something to keep in mind moving forward here. On the production menu, we can see there are a lot of upgrades going down right now. Upgrading the Kaidaran Amulet, which will allow him to basically insta-storm, giving that extra 25 energy to those units, and apparently the lagger has left the game. There's more expansions going up though right now. DCRodrigo expanding up at the top, and BrokenRythm expanding down at the bottom here, and it looks like we are going to see a bit of a clash in the middle of the map, sniping that observer from DCRodrigo in the middle, and BrokenRythm is going to back up and do a little bit of sieging up behind this line of sight blockers with these grass in the middle. And DCRodrigo apparently not going to attack, but, oh, I'm sorry, as I was saying he was going to hold his position, he apparently does not want to hold his position. So moving back, joining up with the rest of his army, there are a ton of Zealots here, and as you can see, these Zealots do have Charge available, and Charge is very good at letting these Zealots get into the range of the tanks. Although these tanks are spread out pretty good, it may be difficult even with Charge to get in there and do the damage he needs to do in order to take those tanks down. Meanwhile, looking at BrokenRythm, he's got a small task force of Marines here, it looks like, going to take down the Destructible Rocks over at the gold base, and another observer here for DCRodrigo at the expansion, so he is going to see when BrokenRythm decides to move his forces out in the middle of the map. BrokenRythm is also transferring a bunch of harvesters over to his new expansion, putting down a bunch of turrets and also getting some refineries so that he can immediately take advantage of this expansion, although it sent him a little bit too quickly apparently, because they are all going back to his main base instead of to the new expansion, which is just now finishing. It looks like we do have a phase prism moving out as well, and no units in it right now, so he may be trying to do some tricky drops, but he is going to run right through the turrets at this expansion, and that is going to go down without doing anything. BrokenRythm also does have this medevac with just a few units in it still, scouting out the islands, making sure there's nothing crazy in there, and I may be mistaken, but I think he just stemmed like 2 or 3 times there for some reason. So actually, you know what, I don't know if this is what he did on purpose or not, but if he stems and the medevac uses all of its energy, then he won't be able to feed back that medevac. And I'm sorry, hold that thought. It looks like we are going to see a big battle in the middle, and you can see those Zealots getting in there. Oh, great Psystorm on the infantry, and yeah, doing a ton of damage on that tank and the few Marauders that were around it. And there are a few Vikings running away from that army right now, trying to come back and do a little bit of pressure on the front of BrokenRythm's base, but going to back out, possibly do some damage on this expansion, although BrokenRythm does have a planetary fortress there, which is very, very powerful against these Protoss ground units, especially if you repair it correctly. But what I was going to mention is that if Broken is stimming, it seemed like he was just stimming to force this medevac to heal, Feedback is very, very good at killing medevacs, and if he gets rid of that energy by healing his units after stimming them, then Feedback will not kill him, and he will be able to pick his units up and get them away appropriately. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's what his end game was or not, but he did seem to be stimming when he did not need to, and of course you can see the energy of the medevac very, very low now. So I don't know, just speculating there, but that was definitely something that we could ask BrokenRythm later down the road. But looking at the income tab, we can see that BrokenRythm has a very significant advantage, more than double the income right now of his opponent DCRodrigo, although that may go down very, very quickly because it looks like Rodrigo is going to take out the high yield base and saying FFS, which I'm sure you all know what that means. I try not to swear on my channel, so I'm not going to say what it means. But apparently, since he is spotting all these expansions, realizing how many expansions BrokenRythm has right now, some great side storm. Oh my goodness, so much infantry getting absolutely dominated by that side storm. And here comes the rest of the Zealots, and the Stalker's going to clean up that army. And this has just been a huge seesaw back and forth game between these two players right now. And it looks like DCRodrigo going to be able to take that base out, even up the expansion count once again. And there is some starports being built, a lot of starports being built with Tech Lab add-ons. I would venture to say that we are going to be seeing some BCs out here really quickly. Oh my goodness, even more. So how many, let's look at the unit count here right now. Or is that going to, no, I'm sorry, that does not tell us. I guess we'll just have to see the natural way here. But that is 6 starports as of right now. And I don't know if he's got any more in his base or not. He does, but it's Banshees actually. Okay, so producing Banshees now. Going to go mass Banshees, and he is getting the cloaking field upgrade, which you can see right now just started. So a lot of Banshees. Going to be pretty tough to deal with unless he has enough observers out there to actually keep track of that. And BrokenRythm apparently going to build some command centers over here. I'm not sure exactly what those are for, but it looks like DC actually going to spot this here pretty quickly. Although, I'm sorry, was he close enough to see that go down? Yeah, he did see it go down. So I'm not sure exactly what he... Broken is known for his very, very off-the-wall crazy strategies. Perhaps he is trying to do a planetary fortress drop in the main of DCRodrigo. I don't know. We'll see if that works or not. There is a Stalker over here harassing this, so going to be taking that down. There are a ton of units right now, though, coming down to take out this Terran army, and it doesn't look like Cloak is finished yet, so he is going to try to buy as much time as he can by delaying this Protoss army until that Cloak can finish so that he can get out there and do some serious damage. Although even with Cloak, there is an observer overhead right now, so that's not going to do him a whole lot of good, because that Cloak is not going to mean anything with that observer sitting right there on top of everything. Banshees, of course, do a lot of damage, though, so we'll see if he's able to do anything significant with it. Apparently going to just, at this point in time, just try to harass these... there we go, and finally, Cloak coming online, going to be able to take out some units. But also just harassing these reinforcements as they try to come up. A decent amount of High Templars, and here is the Observer. That Observer is going to be absolutely crucial. Oh, getting a good feedback off. Feedback's so good against Banshees because one feedback against a Banshee with a decent amount of health can cause a super ton large amount of damage. And it looks like he's going to use these Banshees to do some harassment on DC's base over here at the top. And meanwhile, taking another group of Banshees into the main of DCRodrigo, just attacking a pylon. I'm not sure if he's exactly sure what's going on with this right now. He may not be paying attention to it. But both players losing a lot of their income right now, as you can see, with Broken losing that expansion, and then DCRodrigo having to pull all of his probes off at a couple of his bases. Both players losing a lot of their income right now. And a ton of harassment still from these Banshees going on. Looks like these Banshees are actually in the main right now, going to take out the Stalkers defending and possibly get a ton of tech. If he can take out all of the pylons that are powering this tech, he is going to basically stop DCRodrigo from building any reinforcements. And as you can see right there, already taking out a large amount of the pylons powering these warp gates, and there goes the rest of the warp gates. So absolutely no reinforcements available right now for for DCRodrigo, as Broken has taken out all of the pylons. Oh, but here comes the Side Storm. Let's see if he can do enough damage to these Banshees. A ton of these Banshees getting really low on HP, and DCRodrigo doing his best to get these Stalkers in place so that he can actually defend against this. And there is still an observer overhead, so he is going to be able to push these Banshees out, although there are more Banshees coming in right now, going to take out the robotics facility and possibly even, actually no, they're going to go for the Stalkers now that he's got a bunch of Banshees in here, although I don't think this is going to be enough to take on that many Stalkers. And of course, now that some of the warp gates are back up and running for DCRodrigo, he is going to have enough to defend this. Wow, and a GG from BrokenRythm. So Broken trying some very unorthodox strategies there, and eventually the game going to DCRodrigo. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I know that was a bit of an out there game, but I was invited to that lobby by Elisa at the last minute and wanted to cast it because those are two very high-level players. Both of them have been in the top 200 list from Blizzard, so they are very quality, know what they're doing, and they just got a lot of unique strategies. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. GG.